alright, that was it. And it's not just the openings. Many shows or movies will only have ambient noise or the sound of silverware on plates during conversations, but anime usually has some kind of music playing. And sometimes, it's awful, but usually I hardly notice. It doesn't really seem as vital as it is. Since I started making YouTube videos, I've realized how much the music can affect the final product. It can even change the tone of what you're saying. It's surprising how much just one element of something can be so influential. But tons of mediums and tons of different things have soundtracks. So what's special about anime? Well, not only do I think the soundtrack themselves is different, I think the way that anime uses it is pretty unique. Anime music is just in its own genre at this point. Weeb shit. It's usually incredibly upbeat and has high-pitched anime girls singing the lyrics. When I first started listening to weeb shit myself, I got actual headaches. It would literally cause me pain. There are so many instruments and vocals and tempo changes. It never stops. Of course, that's not all anime music, but damn, there's a lot of it. Sometimes the music in an anime isn't that much different from Western media, and sometimes the songs are from Western media, but I feel like anime usually uses them a little differently. Like I said before, anime usually always has background music. When no music is playing, it's usually to put emphasis on something. It's the same thing that I do in my videos, where the music stops, and suddenly, what I'm saying seems a lot more important. I feel like anime reserves this effect a lot more than movies and shows in the West do. For some reason, my childhood has been scarred by Paul Blart Mall Cop, and I promise you, this is not a joke. I can vividly remember that near the beginning of the movie, there is an uncomfortably long scene where people are just eating. They're talking about shit that doesn't even matter, like, at all, and there's no music whatsoever. I think music is more seen as fluff, to add to a scene, rather than a part of a scene. That's where I think anime is a little different. Even during the most dramatic parts of a show, where most movies or shows would have no music, there's always still is in anime. Just think about that one sad Naruto song. That song plays during some pretty emotional parts of the show. You would think that silence would be a better idea, since it can add a lot of contrast to that moment. But I think it works really well. Because the song is played in those emotional parts, not only does the viewer have an emotional connection with the characters and the events, but also the song itself. You can essentially condition a viewer to feel a certain way by using the past feelings connected to a song and putting that song somewhere else. It's honestly a really cool strategy. I remember recently I listened back to one of the Danganronpa soundtracks, and while thinking about the games doesn't even do this to me, I got super nostalgic. And I remembered some like really weirdly specific shit that was going on while I was playing that game. It's amazing how something that people barely even think about can have such a huge impact. But I also think that this effect is helped by the fact that the music is actually good. Most background music is really boring and generic. Try to think of one background track from a TV show or movie that isn't the Avengers theme. I literally cannot. Depending on the show, there could literally be none at all. Most sitcoms are too busy adding fake laughter every 10-second interval. And even when it is there, it hardly adds anything anyways. It's the most generic, boring, bland, uninspired, bad. Each track seems like it could have been put into any other show and it would have worked perfectly fine. And there's nothing going on in these songs anyways. So much though, that you couldn't sing them if you tried. It's just like brass with like a ton of rests and like one note every like 20 measures. It's like, there's no melody to it. I would love to show you an example, but YouTube does not like that. So one thing that I love about anime OSTs is that they have a main theme and then a lot of tracks that take that familiar tune and change it while keeping it the same. The first ones that come to mind to me are JoJo and Non Non Biyori. With JoJo, each character has their own theme, and if the characters are just walking around not doing much, a variation of their main theme is played. It's really cool, and I think it can sometimes make the song even better, because a variation can surprise you if you're expecting what you already know. Now, I know I talked about Non Non Biyori in the last video, ultimate bazinga comedy I have coming in my future? It's literally nothing. Honestly, you could say it's a metaphor for how each medium sees music. Anime sees music as another element to the story, while Western media just kind of sees it as a non-significant addition. I'm